Welcome to the GamerDad podcast, where we talk about all things Magic the Gathering and gaming. We strive to make things fun, fit it into our busy lives, families, keep things casual, and show you how you can too. I'm GamerDadBob, a 30-year Magic the Gathering veteran who has played formats from Legacy to Standard to Commander. And right now, I'm definitely a member of too many Discord servers for MTG. It's getting tough to keep up.
And I'm Jessehogie. I'm also a 30-year Magic the Gathering vet. I'm a gamer. I'm a two-time girl dad whose jokes are worse than GamerDadBob's receding hairline. So untap your lands, draw a card, and buckle up because you're about to have a fun one.
And remember, this podcast is sponsored by you, the listeners. So head on over to our Patreon and subscribe. There you can find exclusive content like our video podcasts. The only place you can get them here live is right now for free. Otherwise, head on over to Patreon. It's a very, very small price to subscribe. It helps us make content, get my stuff edited down, and all the other good stuff that I'm doing for you guys out there. And tonight, we're going to talk about building community, inclusivity. There's a theme of the creators that we bring on here. We're talking to WUBRGSky's Discord server, and with its creator, Ryan, and one of its mods, purveyor of pack openings, limited play, and my favorite Canadian, none other than Gabesaurus Rex. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
I'm excited to talk about all this good stuff tonight. So let's really get started and dig in here. I'm assuming you guys were like Twitter refugees as well when all of this started and everything. And for me, I first discovered Ryan from Jesse, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He sent me over to Reddit, and he's like, Bob, this guy is just asking for content creators, and he's creating starting packs on Bluesky, and people are getting results from his starter packs. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And Jesse did it like a day before me, and he got like 50 followers overnight and something. I was like, well, maybe I need to do this to help promote my content. So I popped into Reddit. Ryan added me to a starter pack. My follows exploded. So first and foremost, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you as well over here as well.
Yeah. Secondly, talk me through how this all started, like the evolution. Were you on Reddit for a long time and then Twitter? Did you kind of do both in conjunction? And then obviously the exodus to Bluesky.
Yeah, I actually wasn't on Twitter a whole lot. Basically, after the election, right? I noticed that some of my feeds were, starting to auto-subscribe to content that I really wasn't a fan of, didn't really want to see. So I decided to say bye-bye to X and Meta-owned social media. And so looking for a replacement, I came across Bluesky, created an account, realized I really liked it, right? And so as I was trying to curate my feed by, locating content creators, I thought, I'm doing all this legwork. They had the starter pack function. Why don't I just go ahead and create a starter pack? There's a lot of people making the jump right now, and maybe it'll help them find the content that they want to follow. So the initial pack was 30 accounts, I believe, and it was a lot of the big names in Magic. So it was Gavin's account, Command Zone, things like that. Shared it on Reddit, and people really liked it. We got a lot of good feedback. And then some creators were actually reaching out saying, hey, do you mind? Could you include me? I have a podcast. I have a YouTube channel. I thought, sure, why not? This is awesome. And a lot of Reddit users too were like, hey, you should look into these people. And so it went from 30 accounts to 80 within just a couple days. Created a second post, and I got even more traction there. So I would say within a period of about 2 weeks, I actually had to create a second starter pack. It grew to about 250 accounts or so, and I think that's right around where we're at now.
Wow.
But my followers went from 0 to 600 almost within half a week.
Yeah.
And so, beyond that, when this thing really started growing, and it kind of took on a life of its own, I stopped promoting it, and now it just kind of floats around. People share it, if they want to share it. And, my followers have gone up. It's now like somewhere around like 900. So like people are still passing around and using it, which I'm happy to see.
I am too. I mean, my engagement's still pretty low, but nonetheless, the follower count ticking up is helpful no matter what. So the next logical steps here, right, is the creation of this Discord server. I'm legit fuzzy on how all of this actually went down. So I remember being on, and this is really pathetic because before we went live, we were like, it's only been 3 months. So this is pretty pathetic for me. But like, I remember moving to Bluesky and thinking, dang, this Ryan guy is cool as hell. And he's doing so much for the community. And then bam, this Discord server gets spun up. And I didn't think anything of it, but you kept promoting it and everything. You're like, the coolest people are in here. We're playing games. We're doing all this stuff. I saw a dozen or so. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm kind of busy, so whatever. And then I was in. I think I got in on the server when the population was still in double digits. I remember jumping in there and I was like, okay, there's some funny people in here. All kinds of good banter going on, good conversation. And I saw the traction it was gaining. And now we're what, 5 away from 200?
Yeah, it's pretty close to 200 members. So it's funny, like the whole thing started like right around MagicCon Chicago. At that point, I didn't have a Discord created. I was trying to organize some games via Bluesky. And, it was just a couple posts like, hey, if you have FOMO, you're seeing all the pictures like from MagicCon Chicago, you're not doing anything, you want to jam a game on Spell Table, let me know. Like, we'll get something going. And I actually got like a pretty good response. And so that week, I think I set up three Spell Table games. Gabe was actually in, I think, the very first one.
Nice.
I was.
It was Gabe and a couple other members. Was that
producer
the one we
Kyle
played with?
and,
Yeah, producer Kyle.
What was his name?
Gallows, I believe. Gallows,
yes, it was Gallows, yes.
who is a server member. And then second game, we had Gwen on, which was a very, very fun game. And I'm trying to think who else. We had Nick Wolf, he was on one of the games. Megan from Infinitokens. It was like a lot of folks within the community really were embracing this idea, like, hey, let's get on, jam some casual games. And I think it was Gabe, actually, after that third one, said like, hey, this is a lot of fun. Why don't we try to make this a regular thing? And, we were talking about, okay, I agree. Like, I would love to play more Magic. And so we said, a Discord's probably the best way to organize this thing, right? And so we created the Discord that week. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, like, I had used Discord in the past for like D&D and organizing, game nights and sharing handouts and things like that. But I really didn't have like a lot of experience moderating and so like, luckily Gabe knew what he was doing and volunteered to help me out. I may or may not
have ran my own Destiny 2 clan for a very long while and moderated and created that Discord server. And when Ryan obviously wanted to start this all up, I kind of approached him. I was like, dude, like, he's like, oh, I don't know how to admin. And I'm like, I'm literally administrating my local, like, Southern Ontario Discord server right now. I've administrated clan servers in the past for Destiny 2 and stuff. Just put me on the mod team. I'll take care of it, whatever you need done. And then I believe after that, we brought on Ellie and Kyle as well to help. Kyle to help out. And that's the kind of genesis of the start of the mod team there. Right, and then
and Commander Dad too.
Commander Dad as well. I was going to say we brought him as well on the founding team. Yeah, since then it's just
so going. I would say like Ellie and Gabe definitely like very early on did a lot of the heavy lifting, actually getting the server set up to like a decent standard that we were all kind of proud of. But I will say like the past couple months, like I've learned a lot. I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable doing it now, but yeah, like it's grown though, since those first couple games, we created the Discord. I sent out some DMs to folks that played in those first few games. I also made a Bluesky post and said, hey, this is what we're doing. Like, if you're interested, let me know. I'll send you an invite.
That I remember.
Yep. And so I think we had about 30 people expressed interest, and of those 30, I think we got about 20 that actually signed up and joined the server initially. And so that first game weekend, we hosted 4 pods. So So yeah, a lot of interest, and we've just kind of kept that thing going. I've been trying to every week make some posts, say, hey, if you're not doing anything, come join us. And yeah, like it's exploded. We're up to, like you were saying, about 200 members now. The majority are content creators, people within the Magic the Gathering community. We have members of various rules committees, including the Commander format panel, which is pretty cool. So yeah, cool, it's been awesome. It's a nice resource now for our members to go and learn a little bit more about the game. We offer server space to content creators. The whole idea behind that was let us kind of handle the community growing, and you can focus on your content, and you'll have a place you can call home and share your stuff.
That's very lobby pristine of you. It you know, I see Gabe uses his area quite often. Gwen uses her area very often. So, you know, that's what it's there for. And that is that building community.
Yep. That's what we've been trying to do since day one. You know, the community has been really great. Like, they've really embraced this. And so, you know, my way of giving back is, you know, to try to support them as well, you know, and if that means like something as simple as sharing posts on Bluesky, you know, I'm going to do it. But yeah, it's been a challenge, but it's also been incredibly rewarding and a lot of fun, and it's kind of become my hobby.
So Gabe, you kind of already told your side of the story, but you guys didn't know each other at all before jumping on that the spell table game?
Not really. I kind of saw the post on Bluesky and saw, you know, Ryan was looking for some people to play with. I think that night I had some people cancel on me or something. I was still itching for a Commander game, so I was like, you know what? Yeah, I haven't played online in a long time. I'll play with some randoms online, and Ryan ended up being the random online. And you know, one thing leads to another, and it's like I always say with Magic and with this game in general, it's you don't know who you're going to meet across the table from you. That person may be somebody who, you know, you never see again, you never talk to again. They may end up becoming one of your best friends that you talk to every single day. My friend Davis is a great example of that. My friend Oliver is a great example of that. Hey, my friend Ryan is also a great example of that. You don't know who's going to sit across from you and the relationship you're going to forge with that person once you kind of sat across from them. It's why I keep playing.
Wow. And that's kind of the idea, like what we were trying to accomplish, right? I mean, it's the whole server is built on friendship, right? Mutual respect. You know, we really, as a mod team, have had an easy go of it.
Man, you're stepping on my next question, Ryan.
Oh, am I? Well, go ahead. Ask the question. Ask the question.
So I mean, you kind of moved right into it, right? And to your point, I can't get over the inclusivity of this community. It's really meshed so well together. And to your point, the mods, I think I've had to see the mods jump in like once or twice. And that was more like I'm adding clarity or context to this conversation that was missed because different people miss different contexts of things rather than shut up. You know, so it's like a regular MTG Nerdtopia, Nerdvana. I don't know. It's really cool in there. Like, and
good
like,
band name, by the way.
Nerdvana is also a really good store in Markham, Ontario. My buddy works there. That's actually not a lie.
Oh, wow.
Nerdvana.
Yeah, Nerdvana. They
love it.
They actually post their podcast in the WUBRGSky Discord server. So plug.
You know, I mean, and people even like recognize my awful dad jokes, and I get credit for them in there. You know, so like, how did this get achieved so easily? Was it just the combination of people, the like-mindedness, the mods? Talk me through that.
That's a really hard question to answer.
I
honestly,
and
it's probably because I don't fully understand it myself.
Ryan,
I was definitely expecting a little bit more of, you know, moderation being needed on a day-to-day. Go ahead, Gabe.
I personally think that the big reason why we have such a inclusive community that's so unwilling to like fight with one another is because we kind of see the rest of the stuff going on elsewhere, and the people who are coming to Bluesky are already kind of like you said off the jump here, we're already refugees, right? Like we're coming from a platform that's not exactly the best for us. I know for a lot of our community, we have a lot of LGBTQ plus members who are coming to our platform, and they're also coming to our Discord server. So the last thing that these people want is to be targeted and to be treated like outsiders again. We've already all been treated like that. Like we're all Magic nerds at the end of the day. Like we're all here talking about friggin' wizard squares and how good this 2-1 is versus this 2-2. Like, you know, like it's all stupid. It's all kind of none of it matters in the grand scheme of things. And I think that's kind of the beautiful thing about our community that we have is that we all acknowledge where we've come from, and we all can look at that and say, no. We want to move past this. We don't want to be X anymore. We don't want to be raging at things. If you want to be that way, go over there. We're not gonna partake
There's
in
other
that.
spaces for that.
Yeah. Even myself, when it comes to my content, I'm actually reshooting a whole video right now because I didn't like the tone that I ended up taking at it. I'm reviewing some gameplay of myself, and I was too harsh on myself, and I felt that that was not the right message I wanted to convey to my audience. Why am I going to look at myself and start yelling at myself and start screaming when, you know, that's not what I'm about. I'm here to be constructive. I'm here to bring myself up and to bring my audience up. I don't want to tear you guys down. And I think that's a very big part of the WUBRGSky community.
Man, he said WUBRGSky so much easier than I did the first time I tried to say it tonight. That was just
it's like
rolled off the tongue.
But yeah, I think Gabe's 100% correct. You know, we're refugees. We all kind of have similar experiences. But I think a big part of it is just the moderation team. Really, and it's to their credit. We all set the tone. I think what we expect within the community. And so we treat people with respect. We listen to people when they're hurting. We listen to people's bad jokes and we make our own. And so I think it's been a place where people, they've been able to come, they feel seen, they feel heard. And it's, that type of positivity can be infectious, right?
For sure.
It spreads. And so, and like I said, because of it, it's really made our jobs as moderators fairly easy. And I'm going to knock on wood. I hope that doesn't change.
Tomorrow's going to be a rough... No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So on top of running your Discord server, Ryan, you do card alters?
I do.
Tabletop talks? And you're a CFO, and then most importantly, you're also a dad. How do you fit all that in?
I don't. I mean, like, quite honestly, like, I owe half of this podcast alters right now. I have one in the works for Bob and Gabe currently.
I guess I'm the one out.
and Jesse, I think I'm going to have to do one for you as well for the opportunity to come here
Boost
and talk
the
to you all
server
tonight.
and you get one for free.
That's right. That's right.
That's how I did it.
That's how I did as well.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, like, it's a lot to juggle. I think having good help, definitely helps. The mods are all very active, not only just on game nights, but just, throughout the week, and so I probably don't need to be as involved as I am, but I like to be just because I enjoy it. The card alters, I mean, I try to squeeze them in when I can, but I would say my biggest thing, like, how I fit it all in. I just try to prioritize, right? Like my family engagements are always going to be my top priority. So like
as they should
my
be.
Kids, my kids are involved in sports. I'm involved in coaching and scouts and everything else. So, I mean, that type of stuff, like it's my priority. Like I'm usually not available till like 9:00 most nights. After 9, that's my time, right? But I try to at least tackle one thing like each night, right? So whether that's like working on a card alter, tinkering with a deck idea, doing something for the server, promotion, playing on a stream, I try to keep myself busy and tackle one thing, each night, just so I could say, all right, I was productive. But I'll tell you, like, it's a challenge. I mean, I had to move a load of laundry that was sitting behind me earlier today, so it didn't show up on
that is so
camera.
real.
Yeah, so I mean, I struggle with it just like anyone else.
What's the your favorite card alter that you've made so far?
My favorite that I've done so far was the one that I did for Gwen. She made a Bluesky post on her leading up to her birthday, and it was definitely tongue in cheek, like, hey, send me all your foils and shiny cards. And I messaged her. I said, hey, what kind of card would you like an alter? And she has a Verena deck that's blinged out, and there were a few cards that she still had left to kind of bling out with either foils or at the time she didn't have any altered cards, but I did a Titan of Lajara for her. And it was her first card alter, and it kind of started a bug, and she went and commissioned a few others, and I think she just finally finished that deck, blinging it out. She not long ago did a lengthy Bluesky post where she kind of did like a deck tour, and she created a pretty heartfelt post about that alter. It was pretty touching. And just to see, like, it had that kind of meaning to someone, like, it made me feel great. And I think I'm always going to remember that one.
Nice.
So, yep.
If I can tease some content that's coming up, Ryan, look for your alter of mine in a future video.
Sweet.
Actually, look for it in
All
a few future videos because it's part of a bit.
Love it.
Awesome.
I'm
gonna knock that one out soon.
What music do you play in the axe behind you?
I wish I played more than I actually do, but I used to be really into it back in high school and college and played in bands. Really into rock and blues. So, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, those were my guitar heroes growing up. Still love all of it. I like the heavier stuff too. I mean, I definitely listen to, like, I've seen Black Sabbath live. I mean, Tony Iommi was one of my my heroes.
Lefty.
Lefty.
Yeah. Well, Hendrix too.
Yep.
True.
But yeah, so I wish I played a little bit more than I did. I'm very rusty, but yeah, if I'm picking it up, I'm usually playing classic rock or Taylor Swift for my daughter.
It's kind of scary what's considered classic rock now anyway. You want to just wither away and die. They're like,
yeah,
let's listen to some classic Blink 182, and you're just like, what?
Let's listen
what
to
did
some
I just
classic
hear?
Weezer.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Yep.
I
feel
die
that.
inside every time someone says
My
something
soul.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything I play, because I play guitar too, I think everything I play would be considered classic rock now, because I'm more heavy metal type stuff, but like my big band, when I was learning how to play was Creed, and that's all old
definitely
90s,
under the classic rock category now.
Yep. Oh yeah,
Bob was actually telling me that the other day. I caught him listening to, was it Alter Bridge?
Alter Bridge.
Yep. That's my favorite. Mark Tremonti is my favorite big guitarist. So
yep. I see the Marshall stack in the background. So very nice.
Yep. What you can't see is the Alter Bridge autographs surrounding my desk in front of me.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Jesse, you're a metal guy, right?
I am a metal guy, yep.
Okay, well, do you know this band?
I can't read it.
Wrong. It's my local game store.
It looks like a heavy metal, like one of those like black metal type
Black
things.
metal,
yeah.
That's
funny.
I have a Kaldheim T-shirt that kind of looks like that.
Yeah, they made something like that. Yeah,
I've seen
I think I
those.
almost got that actually.
Did you guys get the old Thraxamundar metal T-shirt back in the day?
No, I didn't. Unfortunately, I wasn't.
No,
really
and I wanted
super
that
back
secret
into the game
lair that they did too, but
you could always proxy it.
my
Sure.
local game store and I, like the owner and I, are big metal fans. So he told me like that he's doing this line of merch, and I was like, I don't care how much it costs. I literally don't care. You put one aside in a medium for me, and I'm going to come buy it. And so literally the day he got them in, I went into the back storeroom of the LGS, because like affiliates, yada, 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 I can do some extra things. And I picked out my exact one that I want. I'm like, this one's mine. I'm going home with this one.
He walked out the door, threw the money as he was walking out. No words were spoken after that.
I'm leaving!
If you can put one aside for me, put one aside for me, because I'll definitely take one.
I'm getting Chris to put them up on the store because my friends in Alberta also want them, and now my friends in South Carolina also want them, so I need to get them like all over the world. So, you know, I told him put them up as a basic land that's cost like $55 or whatever, and then just ship them out. And he's like, yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Just do that,
and if
man.
you use code Gabesaurus Rex, it can save you.
Saveasaurus Rex.
Saveasaurus Rex.
5% off all your singles that you
Saveasaurus
order
Rex.
from enterthebattlefield.ca, which is very awesome that I still have that. I really appreciate ETB. Those guys are awesome dudes.
Yeah, we'll
That's why
definitely
he's
get
a
into
bro.
that.
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
definitely get into that in a little bit, actually. So Ryan, you just announced that you're doing these tabletop talks, right? And you're going to be hosting them coming up. Can you tease what your next topic is? Is that public yet?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be public pretty soon, actually.
You get to hear it here first.
Yeah, I plan on announcing these probably about 2 weeks out. So next week, I think on Wednesday, I'm going to be sending out the actual teaser. But we're going to have Praetors for Change on, and they're going to be talking about basically the logistics of running a charity stream or charity events.
Ooh, okay.
So it's a really good one. I think, you know, if you're at all interested in that, please tune in. Like, it's going to be awesome. But yeah, I just got involved in that. I actually was on as a panelist about a month ago.
That was the grant writing and stuff?
Yeah, I did a presentation on grant writing. And so that went pretty well. It's actually a big part of what I do, my day job, right? I'm, as Jesse mentioned, I'm a CFO. I work for a recreation organization, right? And so we rely on grant funding, you know, to build playgrounds, pools, and you know, things for our communities that we serve. And so I kind of put it out there on Bluesky, like, hey, if you're working on your grant submission for you know, MagicCon, the upcoming MagicCon, and you want an extra set of eyes, please let me know. Like, I'd be willing to look at it. It was the New Perspectives grant.
Yep.
And so Jane was actually one of the ones who reached out about it, and we got to talking, and she thought it would be a good topic for tabletop talks.
Jane did stuff on burnout, right? Like creator burnout and
I
other
believe
stuff
so.
as well.
And she hosted it for a little bit, and then J-Ro took over for it for like a month. And so after J-Ro was up, they put something out. It's like, hey, if anyone's interested in taking this on, let us know. It's such a great resource for the community that, like, I really wanted to see it continue. And so I reached out to Jane and asked her, I'm like, hey, has anyone, you know, volunteer to help out with this? And I kind of got roped into it. I was going to volunteer my services if no one else was interested in any way, because like I said, this is something that it gives back to the community. I think people get a lot out of it, and we have some really good panelists coming up this month.
Nice.
So we have Praetors for Change coming up. I'm going to have Amara, Goddess of Blunder, on. We're going to do one with Tyler Bucks, and then I'm trying to think who else I got coming up. That might be it.
Well, we don't need to put you on the spot anyway here. This is a free teaser for all of you live people here and people listening soon.
But I'm going to be starting up with that July 9th, and so definitely tune in. They're a lot of fun, and I think people get a lot out of it.
Okay. I really love to hear that. And Ryan is just extending his dadness to the community, right? And for what it's worth, you know, I feel like an elder or a boomer sometimes in this community for sure, because there are things that people are saying that it's right over my head, right? But like at the same time, they say things that are naive, ignorant, that you could easily take them under your wing and help them with and be like, hey, what about your finances? Are you taking care of you? You're a young creator here just out of college. Like, let's talk about that. What does that entail?
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff, it's helpful. That is also community building.
Yeah. I mean, like I've had to, learn a lot of different like skills like throughout my career that are very much applicable to content creation. But not only that, like a lot of these creators have day jobs, right? So I've like had people ask like, hey, could you look at my resume? Like I've done that for people within the community. So, I mean, I do very much feel like community dad sometimes, and I'm happy to fill that role. Like, I mean, like I kind of thrive in that role, but yeah, it's given back and if I could help someone along by sharing my experiences, then I'm going to do it. Why wouldn't I? Right.
So we've reached the point in our podcast where Jesse and I usually play a game. It's either a trivia game or a guess the card game. Now, you guys are welcome to join in silently, of course, and see if you can play along and figure things out. We're going to play guess the card tonight. And what did we say? It was 10 questions, Jesse? Or did we say we needed to do 15 to make it better?
I think it was 10. I think it was 10.
Okay. Do you want to go first and guess first?
No, I have to pull up my stuff because I had song lyrics or flavor text pulled up, not the card stuff. So I could pull up the card stuff.
Okay, well, I know what card I want to give you. So I am ready whenever you want to start asking your questions.
Let's see.
And this is like 20 questions. They're yes/no questions.
Right. Is it a permanent?
Yes.
Okay, so it's permanent. So that's one. Is it one or less colors?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. One or less. Is it colorless?
No.
All right. So that's three, right? Make sure you can track here. So 3 colors. It's one color. And it's permanent. Is it a creature?
Yes.
Is it white?
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, that's so many creatures.
Jesse just narrowed it down to 10,000, guys. We're almost there.
I think I got it.
I think I have it too, but I'm going to ask more questions because that's only 5. Is the CMC 3 or less?
No.
Oh, I'm off. Okay. So it's not that.
I'm out. It's not that either.
Nope, it's not that easy. That was, 6? Is it 4 or 5 CMC?
Yes.
Okay. Does it fly?
Yes.
Is it Sierra Angel?
Yes.
I had either Sarah Angel or Savannah Lions.
I've been beating Jesse up in our 1v1 limited so much with that card. I figured that would be a really fun one to use on him there.
I was thinking Zatalpa until you got to the CMC.
I was thinking Squire.
Okay.
I have mine already.
All right. I do like the is it a permanent question, so we're going to start there.
It is.
Okay. Is it a legendary card?
It is.
Is it CMC 3 or less? No. Bigger boy. Okay. See, I like to break it down by shards to see here, but your question made more sense. Is it monocolored?
No. So many to choose from.
Boy.
We're getting there.
Multicolored legendary.
Let's go with is it a creature?
Yes.
Okay. Multicolored legendary. Is it 2 or more? No. Is it 3 or more colors?
Yes.
It's 3 or more colors. Okay. Interesting. God, this is going to be terrible. I am not going to get there, guys. Is it? Let's see, so we got legendary creature, 3 or more colors. Is it in the traditional Shards of Alara color blocks?
No.
Okay, so we're talking Khans of Tarkir color blocks. All right. That was 7.
That was 7.
I am so screwed. Let's see, what would differentiate this here?
I got a question. Can I ask one, Bob?
Yeah.
I'm going to phone a friend with Gabe here.
Is it a humanoid?
No.
That's a good question. Now you know it's not a human.
That's true.
Or humanoid.
You want a hint? A free hint.
A free hint? Yeah, I'll take a free hint.
It is not It does not belong to any color block. It would not fall into any defined color blocks.
Jesse's getting tricky. I like this.
Is it 4 color?
No.
5 color?
Yes, that was 10. But
Wait,
I'll
did you go with?
eliminate
Did
2.
you? Tom Bombadil's not a human.
Nope, but it's not Tom Bombadil.
Damn.
But I'll give you 2 more because Gabe and Ryan's won't count.
But it should count. They
should
help
count,
narrow
but
it down. All right. So it's a 5 color legendary creature.
I figured WUBRG would be very.
Well, look at him
Yeah.
being all clever and everything.
Yeah.
Did you give me Child of Alara?
I did not.
Dang.
Is it Horde of Notions?
It is not.
Oh, that's
This
that's
is
a
my
fun
guess. You can't read it. Ur-Dragon.
There you go. He got it.
one. There it is.
He got it. The Ur-Dragon.
Very nice. So now it's time to shift gears and talk to Gabe. Ryan has talked enough. We're going to talk to Gabe. We're going to make it about him for a little bit here. So, Gabe, how about you? You're a full-time creator right now. You already said you're not a dad. But like, talk us through what your days look like and everything.
Well, I get up, I drive my wife around to work usually. Usually I come home, work on some content or something, kind of figure out what I want to do. Day in life for me is usually pretty uninteresting. I am technically a full-time content creator right now, just kind of working on the channel and whatnot. It day to day, like one of the things I like to do is I'll sit down. Back there behind me is the living area in my office space here. I'll sit back there with my iPad and something, and I'll just start writing a script or something. I just kind of build out the frameworks to something I want to build or a video I wanted to shoot. And then, I have a studio space behind me. My dad is a big band guy. He plays bass for a lot of for his band. So he's got this soundproof studio behind me.
His dad's Geddy Lee. Don't worry about it.
My dad is Geddy Lee. Begin the day with the friendly voice of Companion Unobtrusive. Plays that song. It's so elusive. I'm a very big Rush fan. If you guys didn't know that,
That's the Canadian.
It's a
national
requirement.
anthem,
We
right?
have to, yeah. But yeah, I basically will just work on that sort of stuff. Day in life for me is usually not that interesting. A lot of Magic research that I do. A lot of job hunting as well, because that's also a thing. But yeah, it's just it's pretty uninteresting day. But yeah, it's fun.
You're interesting enough to almost 150 subscribers on YouTube, though. So that is a number that keeps climbing and climbing. And honestly, Gabe, my favorite videos of yours, it's silly, but it's like got your coffee? Let's open a pack. Like, it's so casual. It's so good morning to everyone. And just like, I love those. I don't know why. I can't explain why that resonates with me, but it's one of those things that I look forward to seeing when they pop up on my feed. And it's like, there it is. So what's your process look like? I know you said you'll be like writing a script or doing some card research or something like that, but how do you kind of shape your content?
Well, when I'm doing pack videos and stuff, it's more or less just off the cuff style content that I'm creating. I'm just kind of trying to riff off what I'm seeing. A lot of improv and whatnot. Grew up in the improv kind of circuits and whatnot at my school, so got a lot of that behind me. Got a lot of theatrical stuff. Pretty dramatic by nature. You can call me Calculon if you want. Essentially, what I end up doing is when I come up with an idea, I really want to evoke the core 3 tenets of my content and and what I'm creating. One, is it educational? Are people going to learn something from what they're watching here? Are you going to actually get something from what you're watching here? Even when I'm doing stuff like pack opening videos, I am commenting on the quality of a card I feel for limited, for constructed play, where I feel that card could be best used, how you kind of want to play that card, in what applications. I don't want somebody to walk away from my video and be like, well, I watched that for like a minute and a half and I didn't get anything from it. I want you to actually walk away with something educational from it. It kind of goes back to the tenet that I'm trying to develop within the content, which is I want to come off, and I think Ryan will get the most kind of kick out of this. In Canada, there is a broadcaster named Ron McLean, and Ron McLean he's part of the Hockey Night in Canada crew, and he's extremely knowledgeable about hockey. All the veterans respect him and love him and think, hey, he knows what he's talking about. And because of that, they give him really good interviews. But then the new players who are, young kids, they really want to learn from Ron McClain. And then when they become pros themselves, they respect. So it becomes this very big cycle. And that's really what I've wanted to evoke with my content as well, is coaching my viewers and teaching them something, a lesson, something they can walk away with at the end of it and say, yeah, I learned that. And that way they don't feel like they wasted their time. Kind of touching on this a little bit, I feel like there's a lot of guys out there, like you got your Minaguchis or whatever, who will take you 3-0. They'll teach you how to go those 3-0s, but we can't just go 3-0 right away. We have to go 0-3, then we have to go 1-2, then we have to go 2-1. And I will take you from 0-3 to 1-2 to 2-1. And that's really what I want to do. The other core tenets that I have is I want to evoke this right here, right now, what we four are doing, which is a really good time. I want you to watch the content and walk away from it and be like, you know what? No. I want to hang out with Gabe. I want to hang out with Gabe and Hermit Druid and Scoop and Steel City. Those guys, they all seem really cool. These people seem like they're awesome. I want to get a pod going with these guys. If I see them at MagicCon or whatever, I'm gonna go up to them. I'm gonna ask them to play Magic with me because they seem like they're cool people. And lastly, the final thing, and we kind of touched on it earlier with regards to WUBRGSky, but I want to be positive. I don't like negative content. I find there's a lot of down on the game content nowadays. Frames are not what people like them to be. Something, I don't want you to watch a video of mine and to be like, oh, this guy's hating on this. That's why I chose to reshoot some of my content recently, because I didn't feel it was evoking that style. I want to be positive. I want you to walk away and I want you to think, you know what, Gabe's he's a nice guy. I want to hang out with that guy. Yeah, that's more or less the core tenets there. Just
I think that's a big reason why I think Gabe and I got along so well so quickly. We kind of keep it light, keep it positive,
and Italian.
Yep,
very Italian.
And Italian.
Very Italian. Yeah. Naya's in the house.
One of the things that Jesse and I actually struggle with our podcast topics, in particular with Commander and everything, is trying to put a positive spin on things, because there is so much to talk about that we can be critical about and everything. And when I write these, when we talk about things, we still are critical about things. There are things that we don't like. We don't like what we see. There are things that we feel like that we can change, but we don't just say this sucks, right? Because that's not useful. That's never been useful in the history of feedback whatsoever, right? We say this sucks and here's how we might improve it, or here's what I would do, or here's what one should consider. And does it get you thinking about it? That's what we're trying to do when we are posting that negative content, if you will. It's very hard to stay positive with the Commander space sometimes. The news dropping today about the vehicles in the command zone and everything.
I love it.
Cool. And I don't.
I don't either.
I love it. It's awesome.
I don't love it. See, so we're split 50-50 here, right? So why would we not like it? So we talk about that, right? Yeah. So if I'm sitting down with a pot of strangers, now I have to consider my deck building selections. Do I need to change my interaction, right? Vehicles dodge removal a lot better than regular creatures do and everything. So now this needs to be considered as I'm building decks. Do I have to change all my decks? So things like that pop into my head, and you're like, well, this is why I don't like this. And I think it's important to explain and talk about that sort of thing when you're being critical about something. Of course, if you can be Gabe and just be positive, damn, that's good.
Well, I also have to kind of touch on that though, Bob, because Papa Rex came to me when I was a young boy, when I was a young little dinosaur. And my dad, he came to me and he said, son, don't come to me with a problem. Come to me with the problem and the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that that's a big part of how I do things. When we first had brackets announced and I made my video about brackets, I fully said, I don't think that this is a final solution. I think that this is a good start. This is a framework. We need to expand on this. We need to extrapolate on this. And what have we done in the last few months since we had brackets come out? We've expanded and we've extrapolated on it. Even so much so that us on WUBRGSky team have actually contributed to that. Like, we went to Kristen and said, hey, we don't feel that these names are super appropriate. They're not the best to reflect what the brackets are actually about. And from what I understand, Kristen and the team got that feedback from us and a few other people, and we positively made an impact there. You know,
Sure.
it's cool. Don't like being negative, because people don't listen to negativity. People will listen to positivity, and people will listen to, I have a problem, but I also know how to fix it.
I think I know how to fix it.
I think I know how to fix it. I can tell you, try this.
The way I kind of look at it, right? Like, a variety of opinions is always going to be a good thing, right? I mean, otherwise, like, things would be boring, right? And so, I always try not to yuck someone else's yum, right? The vehicle thing was a great example, right? Like, everyone has different tastes, right? Yep. We're not always going to see eye to eye, and that's okay, right? Yep. That's okay. And like, we have to be okay with that, right? And we could talk about it, and like, maybe you'll sway someone's opinion, maybe you won't.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that's okay.
There's things that Jesse and I still to this day don't agree with. And we've never brought each other to the other side. And that's just where it stops. We're still friends. We can still talk to each other. Yeah. We just have a conversation about it.
And you know what? In this situation, Bob, I'd love to hear, just as an example, I would like to hear why you don't like vehicles in the command zone. And your actual reasoning there is good. It does make sense. It's one that I didn't think of. I thought it was cool because, I get to put Parhelion in command zone.
Sure.
Choo-choo! Like, that sounds fun to me.
Sure. And exactly, to your point, like, I could have a knee-jerk reaction and be like, nah, I just don't like it. It's a change. Change is bad. Like, we fear change. I'm Garth from Wayne's World, right? And we fear change. But no, my brain immediately goes to why I don't like it, and it's going to change the way you have to build interaction in decks now. Is that good or bad? I don't know. People don't play enough friggin' interaction as it is, so maybe it's a good thing. Thin out your decks, play a bit more interaction, get rid of those pesky vehicles. But it does change the way that the command zone works with these when you sit down across from someone plopping a Parhelion in the command zone. So yeah, that was my hot take on it there for you guys. So Gabe, you've recently passed your level 1 judge examination. I never considered doing anything like that. Like, it seemed like it was a bit much. But when we talked to Steel City MTG and what their experience was judging and what the old judge program was and everything, it sounded pretty cool. But you've just gone through the new unofficial judge program and passed your exam. First of all, congrats.
Thank you.
But second of all, like, talk us through that process. What is that actually like?
Well, first of all, I really think that the judging resources that we have currently are incomplete. As you can probably gather from what you were just saying, there's a lot of really feeling it out that you have to do when it comes to judging nowadays and getting added to Judge Academy and getting added to the actual judge program. 2025, our resources as judges are not as plentiful as they were 10 years ago, even when I first started. With Wizards having cut ties with us and not officially endorsing Judge Academy or any of the actual judge programs, it's difficult. It's really difficult. So let me just tell you a little story here. It all really, just to kind of give you the history on why I am a judge now, I made the rules videos for the Dragonstorm of Tarkir, or Tarkir Dragonstorm, and folks in my store just kept coming up to me and asking me rules questions. And I had to preface every single question with, well, I'm not a judge. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, why am I not a judge? I've been thinking about doing this since like 2023 or 2013. I should just get this over with and get this accreditation. So I go online and I Google, how to be judge? And there's virtually nothing on the new system. The only video I can find on it is a 4-year-old video that's a repost of a Judge's Corner video that doesn't have a description, that is reposting an 8-year-old video from Judge's Corner. So this resource is like a decade out of date. And like I kind of said off the jump, right, or earlier, I said I don't go and find problems and don't fix them. I go and find problems and I build solutions to them. So what I did is I guinea pigged myself. I basically put myself through the program. I put myself through the ringer and, taught myself what I need to do to become a judge and got my accreditation. Went down to do my test. I ended up scoring a 24 out of 25. Only got one question wrong. So, very happy, very proud with my results. Now I have this nugget of information that's sitting here. And like I said, building a solution to a problem when I find one. So I'm actually going to make an updated tutorial and an updated video on how to do it.
Very cool.
Because I don't love how old that resource was. I had to do a lot of things that were not covered well. And, it just kind of sucks having to know, like, yeah, if Jerry wants to go and become a judge down in Nebraska or whatever, it's gonna be a pain in the butt for him to do that. So I want to build that content out to really help him out and get him, no, you can totally do this. It's totally possible.
So Gabe is ushering in a new era of judges right here.
Hope. Really
you heard it first. And you also partnered with ETB Canada. We mentioned that a little bit earlier. Walk us through how that went down. Were you like already friends with them? Did you have to like work to get the partnership going? And like what advice would you have if, say, Bob and I wanted to do that with our local LGS?
So,
or any creators out there who want to partner with their LGS.
Yes.
But hypothetically.
I'm going to give you the best advice, Papa Gabe, Papa Rex, whatever. I mentioned my dad earlier. I'm going to give you the second best piece of advice he's ever given me. So obviously gave me the advice of find solutions to your problems, but the other good piece of advice that he gave me was make a powerful offer. So I went to ETB. I've been obviously a regular there for about 3-4 years at this point. They're my LGS of choice. Store owners and I are really good friends. He ended up being at my wedding last year. It's just a partnership that, kind of naturally developed through me just going in and being a regular there. And what I kind of realized was they are doing a social media push, and the powerful offer I could make to them was, well, I want to do this too. I want to make my own content, and I want to do my own thing in the Magic space. And you guys seem to be kind of wanting to do your own thing in the TCG space and in the LGS space, but Magic doesn't exactly seem to be what you guys want to focus on anymore. We're at ETB. We have one of the premier North American Lorcana teams. So shout out to ETB Canada team for Lorcana. I think they're in an invitational or something. They were doing some sort of like crazy 3v3 tournament when I was there last time. They do a lot of really cool stuff in Lorcana. So what I would say to any aspiring creator is go to whoever you're looking to approach, whatever brand you're looking to approach, and don't go to them with, oh, I'm this and this is what you go to them and you present how you can add to the business. What is the business and value proposition that you can add to the business? And what I felt that I could add was, well, I'm opening packs. I'm doing limited demonstrations. I'm already at the store. I'm already making content. I already had a video up with the store.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just officially brand a bunch of stuff as ETB branded stuff? Why not just get me in as a featured content creator who is creating stuff for ETB and has the ETB branding all over everything? It was one of those things that I presented it to the management team and to Chris, and kind of was like, there is no side of this that we all don't grow together. And you do end up hitting a point as an LGS where you simply cannot grow anymore within your market. ETB has 2 locations, one here in Newmarket and another one down in Oakville. And as far as a market cap goes, you kind of cap out at a point. You can't make new Magic players. You can't make new LGS goers. You have to find other forms and avenues of business and diversify your streams. Enter content creators, enter us, who then we create stuff. And then I say, hey, Ryan, you who's down in South Carolina there, you should buy from ETB Canada and use my code. And then that code. And it creates this mutual beneficial dialogue and growth between 2 brands and a synergy as well. And I'm sure that if you guys think of, or if a lot of people who are watching this think of me, they're going to think of ETB. And if they think of ETB, they may think of me. So, it builds this harmony. And yeah, it made sense. It was one of those things that I went to them and presented all the pros, and we tried to think of all the cons, and we really couldn't come up with any aside from everybody.
So I'm going to call Jesse out right now because you just said, Gabe, think of ETB Canada. I just saw in our notes, Jesse highlighted ETB Canada. I guarantee you he was Googling it and looking to see what their offerings are.
Sure did.
I mean, this is right there, proof in the pudding. That's how it goes, right? So that's a really, really good story there, Gabe. I think that's very helpful to any aspiring creator, anybody who is already creating that's looking for that partnership, right? And it's not just a sponsorship. You're not going and begging for handouts or packs to open, right? It has to be a partnership if you're both going to succeed here, and they want to keep working with you and everything. I think all your points are super valid on.
Yeah, and like I went to them and I presented them with points. This is what you guys stand to gain by coming over and working with me, and this is what I stand to gain by coming over and working with you. And even like you find these weird methods of integrating streams and to bring people together that you wouldn't otherwise think of. So much so, like, you wouldn't think that there's a lot of a tie between WUBRGSky and ETB Canada, but we have our advertisements up in ETB. We have tokens and stuff. When people use the Monarch token, if they need a store Monarch token, you bet your butt they're getting a WUBRGSky Monarch token. They are not getting a normal token. They're getting us. We are building these cross synergies, and that's what, if you are an aspiring creator, the best thing I can give you as a piece of advice is don't present what you can gain, present what everybody stands to gain, because at the end of the day, they're a business, they're trying to grow themselves, and if you can offer them something that grows them, they're probably going to listen to some capacity.
I just love that. That's really good advice for those listening. Take some notes. Gabe is spitting knowledge here tonight. Also, speaking of Canada, Gabe is definitely a proud Canadian, and I'm assuming a suffering Leafs fan. Sorry, bud. Talk to us a little bit more about connecting with other creators from the States, like from another country. I mean, albeit it's US adjacent, right? But given the political climate that's going on right now and everything, what challenges does that pose connecting, working with other creators in other countries in the States? And are there, I know you mentioned a few other Canadians, who else should we be following?
Hermit Druid.
I already follow him. He's hysterical.
Hurry Up and Pass. Those are actually Hurry Up and Pass. Very good friends of mine, IRL, as we call him, Taco Rob. He is one of my buddies that I draft with. If I wasn't on this podcast tonight, I would be drafting Final Fantasy and casting Self-Destruct and blowing him up with Self-Destruct, because I like blowing up Rob with Self-Destruct because that's fun.
They're actually on the server, and when they posted their first video, I was legitimately blown away by the production quality. I mean, these guys did their homework and like are really putting out a good product. I would highly recommend checking them out. And they're just like fun to watch too. I mean, they have a really good rapport with one another. So.
And the thing I like about Hurry Up and Pass as well is, as opposed to a lot of what we see with the well-produced Magic content, like I said, I play Limited a lot with Rob, so their focus doesn't end up being on Commander, which weird. Commander's not the focus of the gameplay channel, but you have, or I think their second video, they did a Dan video, and it was like literally Dan with a chess clock, and it goes absolutely off the rails right away, and it's hilarious. But I really like that Rob and his team are making that content, because like I feel like we've hit a point of saturation within the Commander content sphere, and I can't see myself making Commander content anytime soon. It's just, it feels like a space that's already been there, done that. You can watch Commander
so
at home.
Saturated. You're right.
So saturated. And like, I don't want to watch that. I want to watch somebody cube. I want to watch somebody play Jumpstart. I want to watch other cool things that we can do with this game. It's a very different and unique, like very different style of video that Hurry Up and Pass makes. And if you guys are not following Hurry Up and Pass, like absolutely do. Some of the best content creator or Canadian content creators that are out there. I love those guys to death. Shout out to Taco Rob. He's a good friend of mine, like I said. The challenges. Yes, there are some definite challenges that I've found with regards to content creation and people in the States. Obviously, not being able to jump the border and whatnot, being able to go down to the States and really be able to purchase product and compete in tournaments can be a bit of a pain. But I also think that due to the nature of how I am and the content I'm trying to create, I find ways around it, and I find ways around it in very creative ways. Like kind of pointing out one of the streams I did recently with friends of this show, Steel City MTG. I challenged Brad to a Chaos Sealed, but it was a very specific Chaos Sealed. We did the last 6 sets of Standard as a Chaos tool, and we just basically tried to build ourselves decks of that. And we played remotely, me at ETB and him from home in Pittsburgh. And that's just kind of what I like to do. I like to find creative solutions to problems that can exist around me. How can I make it so that somebody can do something when, they probably shouldn't be able to do that, but like let's find a way that we can make that work, because that's just how I am. It's just finding solutions to problems.
Yeah, I watched the beginning of that stream. It was those packs. It was so funny, and you didn't find a Bloomborough pack either to match.
No, I didn't.
So
I ended up using Murders, but
it was
still,
so funny.
It was still really cool because we were playing, because you don't realize that, like, because when you're going cross sets, you're almost always doing constructed. But we had stuff like, I played a desert at one point, and that triggered max speed on me. So I got a speed trigger because I had pinged him with a like, it just these cool little like,
wow.
oh yeah, that's neat. You'll never get that anywhere else, but like just cool,
right.
Whatever, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Jesse and I absolutely love their 1v1 sealed, and we borrowed it. Like we do it on the Fridays that we're not podcasting. We have a box of Kamigawa coming, the Neon
great set.
What the hell
Neon
is it
Dynasty.
called?
Neon Dynasty.
There we go.
Yep. Yeah, that's coming.
Neon
Genesis. We've got that coming in the mail. So Neon Genesis Evangelion, the set. No, but we've got that coming. So we'll be doing that for 1v1 sealed. And it's been really fun kind of figuring out the old set synergies and everything. And we did Mystery Booster 2s, and good God, those are chaotic packs. Like there is nothing to them that makes sense.
It was fun though.
It was a lot of fun.
And a Sakashima out of one in the same pack.
What?
Wow.
Nice.
Like a $300 pack.
Good polls.
What? Yeah,
right. And
episode 2 of Gabesaurus MTG.
So like you get all kinds of fun stuff like that, and you really, the limited formats are really fun. Like I'm enjoying them way more than competitive formats, constructed stuff, casual formats. I mean, Jesse and I, there's nothing on the line when we do fun. 1v1 sealed. There's nothing on the line. We get to showcase cards.
And like when we were in person, we played. I have the Lord of the Rings Jumpstart. I have it in a cube box behind me. That was tons of fun.
Yeah, so he's got a cube of Lord of the Rings Jumpstart now available.
Yep,
that's awesome.
Just for people to play.
Granted, we've only done it once, but still, it's fun.
Cube.
I mean, I have a what I called Standards of Past cube from when I started back up playing Magic the Gathering. It was like Shards of Alara, New Phyrexia, Innistrad, all those and everything. And boy, is that a powered cube, though. But you look at some of those cards that are draftable in there, and you go, "Really? This was the best we had." And yet, sometimes a Steelbreaker Behemoth is pretty darn good, So that's been really fun. And like speaking of Steel City and their tribute here, do we need to start like a 6 degrees of Steel City at this point? Because like, Gabe and I are in their chat all the time, and I was like, wait a minute, I know this guy. He's in the WUBRGSky chat, so I've met him before. And like, there's so many people I interact with on the daily that know them, and have had, I mean, let's be honest, everybody has had such an extremely positive interaction with Steel City MTG. Like, and we can call them friends. Like, so how did you actually meet them?
So my interaction with Steph and Brad for the first time is a bit different than most other people. I know a lot of people would probably go through the Lobby Pristine or Birds of Paradise to kind of met them. But mine, just like everything I do, is just different and unique. I was at Command Fest Toronto last year in November, and I was, kind of hanging around, doing my thing, shooting some content and whatnot, shooting episode 2. Of Gabesaurus MTG, and I ran into these two folks who are looking for a commander or for an extra person for a commander game, and I'm like, you know what? I've got this draft pod that starts God knows when. I'm the only person on the list. I'll play a commander game with you guys. So we go and we get started to go shuffle up, and my draft pod fires tonight. Shoot. I'll have to meet back up with you guys later today and draft and play with you guys. Go back later today. They're not there. Go back the next day. Hey, we need to play a game. Yes, we'll play a game. Whole day goes by. Don't end up getting a game in with them. Go to the after party that night. They walk up to me. Gabe, do you want to play a game? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. So we go at the after party. Me and my buddy Davis and Steel City end up playing the game. And like, I really like one of those games where it felt like, when you sit down at the pod and it's like, wow, I just met these people, but it feels like I've known them forever. And like, they're really making me feel like I'm welcome here. Like all the plays that I'm making, they're like, that's cool. And they're like, oh, let me see that card. Interesting. I've never seen that card played against me. Big Chandra, I'm getting emblems, and then killing them with their own emblem or an emblem when I'm dead in the game, and like just those kind of like fun things. And then, one thing kind of led to another, and I started following them on Twitter, and then I started following them on Twitch and whatnot. And Steph and Brad, specifically Steph as well, has been a very big inspiration for me to continue on with content creation. There was a brief moment there where I was feeling like I was done. I kind of didn't want to keep going. I was and talking to them to pick me back up, put me back in the game. You kind of gotta know where you're at sometimes. And they're just very positive people who really see the best in folks. Even so much that they come up to almost every Toronto event now. And when I see them, Brad will be walking by to get players for his commander pod, and I'll be like, Brad, and I'll grab his attention, pull him over to the draft pod, and I'll throw him my cards, and he'll be like, did you pull this Elspeth? And I'll be like, yeah, I pulled that Elspeth. It was pack 2, pick 1. He's like, you're not in white though. I'm like, yep, I'm screwed. But they're just genuinely some of the best people that I've met through the game. And I've met a lot of people through the game. They inspire me to grow the community in the way that I feel is constructive and would be the kind of people who I want to have at those events, because like I said, right, I want people to watch my content and watch what I do and be like, no, this guy seems like he's cool to hang out with. And yeah, I don't know.
It's so funny you keep saying that, because that's the vibe I want to give off too with our content and what we do and the podcast and everything. It's I just want to hang out and talk with Bob and Jesse. And are we slinging cards also at the same time? Sure. That's exactly what I'm going for too. And I think that's an important thing to do, right? Because you want to be able to relate to the people. You want to be able to hang out with the people. I look at Commander at home and I'm like, man, it would be pretty cool to hang out with Brian and Olivia. They seem like cool people. They just seem like cool people. They are upper tier Magic creators, but they seem like really cool people. I'd love to hang out with them, and that's it. That's where we're at.
Yeah, the game becomes kind of secondary at that point, right? I got a DM. I've been trying to get a game going again with Sarge from Vet Play, right? And he mentioned he wasn't going to have his Pendragon deck ready, and he's like, "Well, what do you want to play?" And I'm like, "We could play Uno, right?" And I'd be happy. Let's just enjoy each other's company, right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, being a Magic boomer here, I've been playing Commander since almost its inception, right? Since Sheldon Menery was writing articles on Star City Games about the format. Jeez. I've been playing Commander, and back then I'd hang out with my friends in their apartment, and it would be an all-day thing, and the games were longer, and you'd take breaks to eat meals, or you just eat while you're playing and just hang out and have a good time and talk. And it was a half day, an all-day event. And maybe you played 2 or 3 games and that's it.
Yeah.
A similar note there. I remember when I first started, and I started around the Gate Crash era. I remember my buddy Will coming over and spending literally hours sitting feet from me right over there with our big wooden table. And I'm talking 4 a.m. Tomorrow is game day. We are literally sitting here. He's tuning Azorius or Esper Control, and I'm tuning the Mono Black Devotion, trying to get the lines, trying to figure out exactly. I swear, one of my favorite moments that I'll always remember is him having his head down on the table like this, and me being like, "It's your turn." He gets up, looks at his hand, plays a land, and puts his head back down and goes back to sleep.
I mean that's what I loved about Commander back in the day, and I do love those games where it's the games are secondary, like Ryan said. You're just hanging out, talking, having a good time, hanging out with people. And Spell Table has really opened that up too now for virtual gaming and everything, because you get to talk to your friends across the country. We used to play in person when I lived up by Jesse and everything, and we don't get to do that very much. I was up there in when was that, Jesse? April,
yeah.
Yeah,
right before I went to Disney, April.
We had a whole game day. We had some people over. We played 5-player Commander. Holy hell, that is crazy. That is crazy. And we got 3, 4. What do we get? 5 games in?
Yeah, I think we got 5.
It was a blast. Got some takeout. Got to talk, got to hang out, catch up. That's what it's about.
It's like a perfect weekend. It's the gathering. Yes. The gathering.
It's nothing quite like when you can get 3 games in a 2-hour span too, with the people who are just like, no, we know what we're doing. We all know each other. We know how each other play these games too, or play the game. And if you have that kind of pod and that kind of synergy with people as well, it feels just real good, really good.
So, you guys want to talk some sports?
Yeah.
Before we end. So,
Sure.
Ryan, I know your love for the Buffalo Bills. We share the Buffalo Bills there. We know Jesse's a Giants fan, and much love to the Giants. I don't have a hateful bone in my body for Giants fans. Gabe, are you a Bills fan by proxy?
Well, Bob, no.
Okay.
He's a Chiefs fan.
No, actually. So my story's a bit weird. My cousin went to a Philly game back when he was a kid.
No.
So I'm an Eagles fan. And we used to watch Eagles games every Sunday.
Oh boy.
So I'm a big Eagles fan. The one that I will always tell folks about is I had one year, I called it the crisis of conscience and wallet. I had a very significant sum of cash on the Patriots the year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So it was a crisis of conscience and wallet, because if the Patriots win, I win like $1,000. If the Eagles win, I get to see my team win. Yep. So conscience and wallet.
Either way, you're making out.
Sorry,
Jesse.
I was happy.
I'm biting my tongue right now. It hurts a lot.
Listen, I'm a Leafs fan as well. Let me at least have this.
That's true. So Ryan,
4-1.
You grew up near Buffalo, so that must have come natural to you guys and everything. So at what age did you jump through your first table?
He was an infant.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, growing up, we just didn't have tables in the house. I mean, they just didn't last that long.
We were all jumped through.
We had to sit on pillows on the floor, and just and eat that way.
Ryan and his siblings had to jump through the tables together.
Yeah.
Have
you jumped through your table today? Go up there and jump through that table, mister.
You know, as a Bills fan, we've had plenty of highs and lows. My fandom literally started with the first Super Bowl they were in against the Giants that they lost, and
first of 4.
Yeah, first of 4 in a row. And that's where it started. So do you have any highs, lows, favorite moments, games that you attended? And finally, how are we looking this season?
I'm hopeful about the season. I trust in Brandon Beane. We had a great offense. We produced. A lot of people going into the season last year said we didn't have any playmakers. I mean, they definitely proved them wrong. And it's a type of offense where they like to spread the ball around, so you don't really need that true, number one. I think Cook coming into his own definitely helped, though, a little bit. I mean, I hope we can work something out with him long term, but I'm hopeful for the season. As far as my favorite games go, or high and lows, 13-second game versus Kansas City, I think I hit literally every single emotion, along the spectrum. I mean, that game, I thought, we got this. This is our year. And then, we all know how it ended. And it was just all kinds of emotions. My first game, though, I was telling Bob this actually earlier today. The first game I ever attended was the comeback game versus the Houston Oilers. And that was in
93?
Yeah, I was going to say 2, but yeah, you might be right.
Wasn't that? Well, it might have been calendar year 93, but not the 93 season.
I can't remember. But I was in first grade, and it was my very first game. The Bills were
January
down.
3rd, 93.
Okay.
The old noggin.
You're right.
The old noggin still got it, baby.
Yep.
I wasn't born yet.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I'm not bored for 7 more months at that point.
I don't want to hear it.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. But yeah, that was my first game. I was there with my uncle, my dad, and we were down by 30. What was the deficit? I think it was like 32.
35-3. We were
35.
down 32 points.
Oh,
yep.
32 points. Okay, I was right. We're down 32 points, and the stadium was clearing out at that point. And so the only reason we stuck around was because it was actually my first NFL game. So,
man, good thing you did.
Yeah. So, they started their comeback. At that point, people were trying to get back in the stadium. They were hopping fences, doing anything they could to try to get back in their seats. But it was something else. And I mean, it was an amazing moment and something that definitely got me hooked on Buffalo Bills football.
That would do it.
I've been a lifelong fan, so they're my team. They always will be.
Yep, that will do it. I've been to a bunch of Bills games. One of my most memorable ones was and it's not like memorable to the general public, but I remember Bruce Smith retiring Boomer Esiason. Like, he sacked him so hard, he took him out of the game, and Boomer retired, like, after that game. He was just done. I don't think he played another snap that season, and that hit was so loud, us up in the nosebleeds could hear it. And to this day, that's just unforgettable for me. Just, Bruce Smith was a freak of nature. Not to the same extent that Reggie White was, but Bruce Smith was a freak of nature as far as a defensive end. It was insane to watch him.
He was a different breed of player, and he's going to be remembered as one of the greatest Bills that ever put on the jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've had a lot of good players since then, and Josh Allen, definitely, if he has the type of career that we all hope he has, he'll probably be in that conversation. But Bruce is always going to be like a fan favorite.
Yep.
They love him in Buffalo.
Yep. Absolutely love it. So we're getting to the end here. Anything else you guys want to plug personally? I know Gabe has been shamelessly plugging the entire time. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to plug? Obviously, by the way, this is about WUBRGSky. I still can't say it right. WUBRGSky Commander Night.
WUBRGSky.
And that Discord channel. Do you guys have a little giveaway going on right now?
We do. Yeah. So for Pride Month, we have a giveaway going on June 30. I'm going to select a member to win our big bundle. So it started out, it was a Tarkir Dragonstorm bundle. It was the Abzan deck, matching playmat, sleeves, and something else. Deck box. So, and then, we added more to it just because we wanted to go big. So I actually commissioned an altar for the card Ocelot Pride from Golgari Gal, and her mock-up is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
If you haven't seen it, like, it incorporates like the pride flag colors. If you haven't seen it, like, check out my my account on Bluesky. There's pictures of it, but it's going to be absolutely amazing. Since then, I've tracked down a copy of the Pride Secret Lair that came out a few years ago, and I actually had purchased two more commissions from. So we're up to like 3 altars, a secret lair, and a deck bundle. And so someone's going to be loaded up at the end of this month.
Get in there.
Definitely get in there. You don't want to miss that. While you're in there, jam some games with us. We host scheduled games every Saturday. We have them going.
Fire every day of the week. I'm not even kidding when I say that.
Yeah, there's always something going on. So, I mean, you could always find someone to play with. But our scheduled games that you can for sure count on, they're happening each week. They're Saturdays at 3 p.m., 9 p.m., and then midnight Eastern Standard Time. So hop in on that. And then finally, the last thing I want to plug, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'm going to take over hosting duties for Tabletop Talks. If you are a creator, it's an awesome It's an awesome resource. Join us. You're going to learn a lot. It's going to help you with your content. It's going to help you with your business. And so there's a lot of great stuff happening over on that Discord. I'm a moderator over there as well. And there was one name I was forgetting earlier, and I'm so sorry. I have to apologize to her. Cass, Strixhaven Dropout was the other guest that I have lined up for July. one of my favorite people in the community. So definitely check those out. They're every Wednesday. Those happen at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Wednesday.
And that's in the
July 9th.
Tabletop Jocks Discord channel?
It's the Tabletop Talks Discord.
Talks.
If you need an invite, you ought to be able to message Jane Plays Magic or Joe Johnson.
Okay.
I may be able. I'm a moderator over there now. I'll have to check to see if I can admit people. But if not, I could definitely get you in touch with people that can. So
yeah, I said at the beginning I'm in too many Discords. Well, we're going to add another.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
It's a really good one. It's one of the best ones to be in.
Another one.
That's right.
Dude, what do you got for us?
Well, for me, I'm currently working on developing some additional content and stuff for Canadian creators. I'm really trying to build out a new network of content creation up here in Canada. Ryan's been a big part of that. He's been helping me out a lot, trying to connect me with other Canadian content creators. I don't know if you guys have noticed, we don't really have, there is no version of like a Star City Games or TCG player or anything like that up here. We don't have a central hub in Canada to really go to for all that sort of stuff. So I've been trying to kind of work on that and try to create something that Canadians can really latch onto and call our own. I've been kind of calling it like the Card Kingdom of the North.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to build something out like that. That's been a very big part of my of what's been taking up a lot of my effort lately. So if you notice that my videos have kind of slowed down, it's because I'm working behind the scenes on that sort of stuff. Obviously, with the judging tests and whatnot, I did have to take a little bit of a time off to study for all that, which as well, if you are looking to get into the judge program, please do. You can even message me. I will take on your mentor role. If you need a mentor, I will help you out whatever you need. You feel free to message me on Discord or on Bluesky. I'm gabesaurusrex.wubrg.org on Bluesky. You can find me there. Literally message me anytime. I think my DMs are open. If they're not, shoot me a reply and I'll start talking to you about something. But realistically, just trying to get back on track to making more content. I really love working with ETB Canada. I've been working on some new projects with them. I'm really hoping to get started on some Edge of Eternity stuff soon with the announcements today that came out. Spacecrafts look weird and cool, so I'm excited to make my rules video about it. But yeah, like, otherwise, I really am just trying to help coach others and improve other people's gameplay. I find that, the best way to grow the best way I grow is by growing others. So I'm really just trying to grow everybody around me and, see everybody else flourish. But yeah, like, as far as things going on right now, I have 2 videos in the works. One is in regards to judging and another one is in regards to drafting. Those are both going to be coming out in the next month, I hope. And then I'm taking a 3-month sabbatical to go to the homeland. Ryan knows what's up with that. Mamma mia.
Nice. Very nice. Well, guys, we really appreciate you joining us. We're going to try and continue to line up as many interviews as we can with other creators to tell their stories. I know I'm personally really enjoying getting to know you all on a human level. I think that's very important. I think people forget that creators are human, have lives, and other things going on. Like Gabe just said, things behind the scenes. You guys are doing so much for the community behind the scenes. I think it's important to highlight that here. And I want to use this space, this platform, to highlight other creators, other people in the community and what they're doing. So if you're listening, if you're interested in coming on the show, feel free to DM me, Discord, Bluesky, GamerDadBob. I answer messages pretty quickly. Yeah. Jesse, any final words of wisdom this week?
After this whole podcast, I have one thing left to say. F the Eagles.
Yeah, me too, buddy.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. Go Bills. Be awesome out there, guys. And we'll see you next time.